こんにちは、ハリケーンフットボールです。本日の教材はリバプールの遠藤航に関する動画です。リバプールはカラバオカップ準々決勝で菅原由成擁するサウサンプトンと対戦し2対1で勝利しました。遠藤航が先発し、事前に噂が流れていたように、センターバックでの出場でした。そんなことあるかと個人的には思っていましたが、本当にセンターバックだったことにかなりの驚きでしたが、リバプールファンも同様だったようですが、そういう状況でも、いつも通り素晴らしいプレーを見せてくれました。今回はアンフィールドアジェンダのおなじみのプレイヤーレーティング動画を久しぶりに取り上げます。クレイグがどのように話しているのか、早速チェックしてみましょう。
What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to our player ratings here on Anfield Agenda after Liverpool have booked their place in the League Cup semi-final with a 2-1 victory over Southampton. I'm going to go through the referee, the players, the substitutes and the coach, giving them all a score out of 10. You guys have already played along. In our match reaction, we had a link there. Lots of you have already submitted your ratings. So you will see two scores on the player image. The big square is my score and the top right hand corner will be the average Anfield Agenda viewer score. If you guys want to let me know your thoughts in the comment sections, feel free to play along. Right, let's get stuck into the referee first. It was exactly what I expected from Simon Hooper, to be fair. A bang average performance from a bang average referee with some silly decisions, and ultimately, thankfully, came down on our side with that shout with Kwanzaa towards the end. But I just don't rate Simon Hooper as a referee, so I've given him a score here of 6. And you guys, let me go back one actually, sorry. You guys have gone for a bit higher, 6.9. I think you're being a bit generous there. But look, I just don't like Simon Hooper. Did I mention I don't like Simon Hooper? Next up, ladies and gentlemen, Caoimhín Kelleher, who, of course, returned into the starting fold today as this is his competition and put in a very good display. I don't think he could have done too much with the Southampton goal. It was a good finish. I'll talk about the defending for it in a moment. But outside of that, he did make a couple of good saves when called upon, commanded his area when he needed to. So I have given Mr. Caoimhín Kelleher today a score of 8. And you guys have gone a little bit lower with a 7.6. Just a reminder, by the way, keep an eye on the situation at Leeds United because they're believed to be in the hunt for Caoimhín Kelleher. So let's see what happens there. Next up, we're moving on to Trent Alexander-Arnold. And there are reports today that Trent has been offered a 4-year, £310,000 a week deal. That's reported by Called Offside. So we'll wait and see if there's truth to that. For today, for Trent, it's a difficult one to gauge. He played 45 minutes. He did have the assist, even though maybe he hasn't been credited for it because it took a deflection. But it was a great bit of play from Trent. A little bit of a Cruyff turn, if I remember correctly. Then got onto his left foot, threaded it through the centre. Yes, it took a knock, but it did find its way to Darwin Núñez, who scored. So for that little bit of class, I think Trent deserves a bit of praise. So I've given him a score of 7.5. You guys have gone a little bit less with an average Anfield Agenda viewer score of 7. Next up, Kwanzaa, and I've got to be honest, I struggled where to go with this one. I do think himself and Tyler Morton could have dealt with the Southampton goal a lot better than they did. But to Kwanzaa's credit, he kept going, put in a good block a couple of minutes later. But you can see that he perhaps hasn't got the confidence that he was playing with last season. And I'm unsure as to what lies in his future. Is he going to be good enough to keep around? I hope so, but right now, the jury's out for me, to be honest. I think he still has a lot to prove. So for today's performance, because I don't think he really set the world on fire, I've given him a score of 6. You guys, similar thought process there with a score of 5.9. Now, Wataru Endo, who was, by the way, your Anfield Agenda man of the match with almost 50% of the vote. I thought Wataru did well today in the position, and of course, he hasn't really played much for Liverpool. Put his body on the line. Was dispossessed a little bit more than maybe we're used to, but as I said, was playing in an unusual position. And in these games, these guys aren't playing with first team players in and around them, so there are senior pros like Endo are asked to do a little bit more and take on more responsibility, and I think he did that. He's a steady pro. I have nothing but admiration for Wataru Endo. Today, I'm giving him a score of 8.5. You guys have gone for an 8 average score. I think 8.5, yeah, is fair for me. He was my man of the match, he was your man of the match, but he wasn't the actual man of the match. That fell to Harvey Elliott, but for me, an 8.5. Joe Gomez, again, a difficult one to gauge, much like I spoke about with Trent. Played half the game, being rested up, no doubt, for the game against Spurs at the weekend. I thought he did okay today. Joe Gomez, don't really remember shouting at the screen too much from him, but it was mad in that first half, looking like we were playing with pretty much a back three, and we dominated it. If my memory's right, we had about 71% of possession in that first half. Southampton didn't get a look in, so it was fairly easy going. And for that, I'm giving Joe a 6.5. You guys have gone a bit higher with an average Anfield Agenda score of 7 from the viewers. Next up, Tyler Morton. I thought Tyler had a good game. Now, I docked him half a point because I felt like he and Kwanzaa, but he was the closest one to the scorer. And I think we should have got a block in for that shot. I don't think he should have been able to get the shot away. But other than that, I thought Tyler Morton looked a very steady player out there. And I think he will have a career at the high level of English football. I don't know if he will make it long term with Liverpool, but I do think he'd be a dream to work with for any manager. He looks like a good, steady, honest pro. I today have given him a score of 7, which is coincidentally is exactly the same as the Anfield Agenda audience, who've also averaged a score of 7 for Tyler Morton. Next up, Trey Morris-Nyoni, and what a player this young man is going to be. Great to see him get his first senior start today for Liverpool, and I felt he repaid the faith shown in him from the coaching staff. What a talent he is. Yes, he still has to grow into his man body, but I do think we have a quality player here for years to come. Whatever it was that we got him in for from Leicester City, I think they're angry at us, and most likely deservedly so. He's just a great young footballer, so I've given him a score today of 8. You guys have gone for a score of 7, but all in, he is just a quality young footballer who I can't wait to see his career unfold at Liverpool. Alexis McAllister, great to have him back in. Obviously, he had a couple of suspensions, one for the Champions League, one in the Premier League, and now he's back in the team. I thought he was okay today, in all honesty. You know, better days ahead for him. And it was a meh performance for me from Alexis. So I've given him a score of 6.5. You guys have gone a little bit higher with a score of 6.7. Next up is Harvey Elliott, who was the man of the match today from Sky Sports. And look, I think Harvey put in a great performance. If I'm being really honest, I don't like him wide right. I don't think we can get him involved in the game enough there. I think he works better when he's central and he's got a bit of a freer rein to find space between the lines. He's a great footballer though, and I thought it was a good performance today, but I do prefer him central rather than in that wide right position. So for me today, I've given him a score of 7.5. You guys have gone higher with an average Anfield Agenda viewer score of 8.1. Cody Gakpo, I thought he was okay. It was a good bit of football from him and Watoro on the edge of the box in the build-up to one of, I think, which goal was? To Elliott's goal, yes, sorry. A lovely bit of football on the edge of the box, and they played it through to Elliott, who, of course, got himself a goal, which I probably should have mentioned a moment ago when I was speaking about Harvey Elliott. He took that goal very well, did benefit from a little deflection on it, but you don't buy a ticket, you don't win the draw. And I thought that Gakpo did okay. I would like to see him maybe try to go around the outside a little bit more than he does, rather than always checking back in onto that right foot. But a good, solid player nonetheless, and I don't expect him to start against Spurs. So today, I've given him a score of 6.5. You guys have gone a little bit higher with a 6.9. Now, I would like to know in the comment section, do you agree with Harvey Elliott and the Sky Sports man of the match, or do you agree with the Anfield Agenda audience on Watoro ENDO being man of the match? Interested to know your thoughts on that. Me, as a massive Harvey Elliott fan, I'm happy to see him get the man of the match award, but I do agree with our audience. I think ENDO maybe just nudged it for me. So we move on to Darwin Núñez, who got himself a goal today, and he took the goal very well. So fair play on that one. But after that, it was okay from Darwin. He looks more comfortable when he pushes out into a wider position, at least to start an attack. But I'm very happy for him that he got that goal today, and I don't want to rain in his parade because we've been waiting for it, so delighted for him. I've given him a score of 7, and you guys have gone a little bit higher with an average score of 7.2. Right, next up, it is Costas, and I'm delighted that he is back and available for the manager. That was a pleasant surprise today when we'd seen the squad announcement. Again, I'd be interested to know in the comments, do you think he starts or Robbo starts against Spurs? I've got to be honest with you, I thought this was a shocker from Costas when he was on. Gave the ball away a lot. was checking back inside and going backwards a lot. I just thought it was a negative enough performance from him. It might be because he'd been out for a few weeks and he isn't in a good rhythm, but I wasn't impressed, so I've given him a score of 5, and you guys have gone higher with an average of 6.4. And again, I know it sounds like a harsh score, but I really just didn't think he did well when he was on. Right, Federico Chiesa. So I was a little bit disheartened to see some people in our chat going in on him as if he hasn't been out for a very long time and if he's not building up match fitness. I thought that he got better as his performance went on today. I thought first 15 minutes or so when he was on, we weren't really able to get him involved that much, and he did look rusty. But I think he warmed up to it, and very unlucky not to get himself a goal. It was a good clearance on the line. Follow-up was blocked as well. So look, I would say be patient with him. Great to see him out there, and again, I hope that he doesn't have any reaction to the performance. I hope that he doesn't feel anything in his legs or anything, and he is available going forward for the manager. So for me today, I'm giving him a score of 6, and you guys have gone a little bit higher with an average score of 6.8. Next up is James McConnell. I thought he did very well when he came on. Honestly, I think he can be more than proud of his performance. He looks a very tidy young footballer. Didn't look out of place out there playing senior football yet again, and I think that's one of the biggest compliments I can give young James McConnell. So for me, I've given him a score of 7, and you guys feel a little like I'm being a bit too generous. You've gone a bit lower there with an average Anfield Agenda viewer score of 6.4. Diogo Jota came into the game and again showed his class. He's so clever. He comes to life in and around the 18-yard box. And again, most of the good things we were involved in, and they were few and far between in the second half, he was at the heart of. So for me, again, good minutes. I hope he doesn't feel anything from it, and we see him in the starting 11 for the game against Spurs. But I've given him a score today of 7, and you guys are pretty similar, just a little bit below me with an average score of 6.9. Right, Jayden Danns. I mean, I don't know how to go about giving Jayden Danns a score. Let me just say I'm delighted that he's back playing football. Delighted to again see him playing for the senior team. I wonder what the January window has in store for him. Will Arna look to keep him around or maybe get him out to get some minutes? Because, of course, he missed the ability to go out with a pre-season loan because he had that back injury. So just great to see him back playing football. I don't know where to go. He came on for 2 minutes. I'm giving him the bang average score of 6, which you guys have pretty much agreed with a 6.1 as well. And finally, I guess, Slot, Sipka Hulshoff, all the coaching staff, we have to put them together today because Arna was up in the stands. I thought, look, it was a disjointed performance from a disjointed team, but he managed to rotate, keep some players fresh and get a victory. So that's all that counts for me. We're into the semi-final. Again, it's difficult to judge in these, but he got a win. So I've given him an average score of 6.5, or Sipka Hulshoff, or whoever else, Johnny Heidinger, and you guys have gone a bit higher with a 7.5. But Liverpool Football Club are in the semi-finals of the League Cup. The draw takes place tomorrow after the Manchester United Spurs game, and we will be live around that time anyway, so I hope to see you for that. Looking forward to reading your thoughts in the comments section. Do drop a like on the video and hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so. And again, thank you to our incredible sponsors, Manscaped. A reminder, you can get yourself 20% off and free shipping store-wide at manscaped.com with our code Anfield20. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
次は解説です。いつもより解説するボキャブラリーが多めになったので、少し絞って解説しています。解説するものはいつも気まぐれでのピックアップであり、今回取り上げていないものも次回取り上げたりしますが、わからないものや聞きたいものなどあれば、いつでもコメントで聞いてください。それでは本日の解説をチェックしてみましょ
う。A bang average performance from a bang average referee.
バングという言葉は文脈によって多様な意味を持ちます。最も基本的には、銃声やドアが閉まる音などを表す擬音語として使われますが、カジュアルな会話では、完全にや正確にといった強調表現として使われたり、バングアベレージは完全に普通を表し、皮肉や軽い批判としても用いられます。
A bang average performance from a bang average referee. A bang average performance from a bang average referee who, of course, returned into the starting fold today as
フォールドは折りたたむという基本的な意味から集団や仲間を指す比喩的な使い方まで様々な意味があります。特にリターントゥーザフォールドは長い間離れていた人が再び仲間に加わることを指します。ビジネスの文脈では閉鎖や倒産を意味することもあります。
Her who, of course, returned into the starting fold today. Her who, of course, returned into the starting fold today is because they're believed to be in the hunt for Caoimhín Kelleher.
in the hunt という表現は、特定の目標を追い求めている状況や、競争の中でまだ成功の可能性があることを表します。スポーツでは、優勝争いやプレーオフ進出を目指しているチームについて語る際に使われることが多く、また、仕事や人生の目標についても使用され、広く適用できる便利な表現です。
Because they're believed to be in the hunt for Caoimhín Kelleher. Because they're believed to be in the hunt for Caoimhín Kelleher. But right now, the jury's out for me, to be honest.
The jury's out という表現はまだ結論が出ていないという意味を持つイディオムで、裁判の陪審団がまだ評決を下していない状態を比喩的に使っており、特定の状況や問題について判断が保留されていることを表現します。意見が分かれている場合や結果が未定の時によく使われるフレーズです。
But right now, the jury's out for me, to be honest. But right now, the jury's out for me, to be honest. I don't really remember shouting at the screen too much from them, but...
マンボは単独で使われることは少なく、一般的にはマンボジャンボというフレーズの一部として使用されます。マンボジャンボは意味不明やナンセンスを表すカジュアルな英語表現で、特に専門用語が多すぎて分かりにくい内容やうさんくさい話を批判的に表現する際に使われます。
I don't really remember shouting at the screen too much from Mumble. Don't really remember shouting at the screen too much from Mumble. Southampton didn't get a look in.
ルックインという表現にはいくつかの意味があり、基本的には立ち寄るや様子を見に行くというニュアンスで使われ、例えば帰り道に友達の家を訪ねるといった場面で使うことができます。また、not have a look inという形では、チャンスがないや勝ち目がないといった否定的な意味になり、競争や状況で成功の可能性がほとんどない場合に使われます。さらに、一瞬覗き見するや少しだけ注目するというニュアンスで、短時間で何かを確認したり、発言の機会がない場面を指すこともあります。
Southampton didn't get a look in. Southampton didn't get a look in, which is coincidentally is exactly the same.
coincidentally は偶然に、たまたまという意味を持つ表現で出来事や状況が意図せず一致した場合に使われます。単なる偶然の出来事を強調するバイチャンスと似ていますが、coincidentally は出来事の関連性や一致にフォーカスするニュアンスが特徴です。
Which is coincidentally is exactly the same. Which is coincidentally is exactly the same. Who I can't wait to see his career unfold at Liverpool.
Unfold には広げる、展開する、明らかになるという多様な意味があり、物理的には地図やテーブルクロスを広げる動作を指し、比喩的には物語や出来事が徐々に進展する過程を表します。また、未来が形になっていくや、新しい事実が明らかになるといったニュアンスでも使われる、非常に汎用性の高い表現です。
Who I can't wait to see his career unfold at Liverpool. Who I can't wait to see his career unfold at Liverpool. And it was a meh performance for me from Alexis.
meh というスラングは、まあまあ、特に良くも悪くもないという軽い無関心を表すカジュアルな表現で、映画や食事、パフォーマンスに対して強い感情を持たず、期待外れや退屈を感じた時に使われることが多いです。この言葉は批判的ではありますが、控えめなトーンで使えるため、日常会話や SNS で特に人気のある表現です。
And it was a meh performance for me from Alexis. And it was a meh performance for me from Alexis. I think ENDO maybe just nudged it for me.
ナッジは軽く押す、そっと促すといったニュアンスを持ち、物理的には肘や手で軽く触れて注意を引く動作を指し、比喩的には人をそっと後押ししたり目標達成に向けて少しだけ進めるという意味で使われます。数字や成果を少し向上させる場合にも使われ、ビジネスや日常会話で広く活用される表現です。
Since I think ENDO maybe just nudged it for me. Since I think ENDO maybe just nudged it for me. And I don't want to rain on his parade.
Rain on one's parade という表現は、人の楽しみや計画を台無しにするという意味を持つイディオムゼ。例えば、誰かが成功や喜びを感じているときに、ネガティブな情報を伝えたり、その瞬間を邪魔してしまう行為を指します。明るい場面での控えめな注意や謝罪を込めた言い回しとして便利な表現です。
And I don't want to rain on his parade. And I don't want to rain on his parade. So I was a little bit disheartened to see.
ディスハートゥーンは、気落ちさせる、落胆させるという意味を持つ動詞で、例えば、何かの失敗や困難が原因で人の意欲ややる気を削ぐ場合に使われます。形容詞として、ディスハートエニングを使うと、気がめいるようなというニュアンスで物事を表現でき、特にネガティブな感情や状況を描写する際に役立つ表現です。
So I was a little bit disheartened to see. And he did look rusty.
ラスティは、錆びたという物理的な意味から、スキルや能力が衰えたという比喩的な意味まで幅広く使われます。例えば、スポーツや楽器演奏、外国語のように、しばらく使っていなかったスキルが鈍っている状態を表す際に便利です。
And he did look rusty. He's so clever. He comes to life in and around the 18-yard box.
come to life は、活気づく、命を吹き込まれる、実現するといったニュアンスを持つ英語のイディオムです。例えば、パーティーやイベントが急に盛り上がる瞬間や、物語や計画が生き生きと描かれる様子を指します。また、機械や装置が動き出す際にも使われる、日常会話から文学まで幅広く活用できる表現です。
He's so clever. He comes to life in and around the 18-yard box. He's so clever. He comes to life in and around the 18-yard box. I thought, look, it was a disjointed performance from a disjointed team.
ディスジョインテッドという言葉は、バラバラの、統一感がないという意味を持つ形容詞で、会話や文章がまとまりを欠いて分かりづらい時や、チームが連携不足で調和していない状況を表現する際に使われます。スポーツ、ビジネス、日常会話など幅広い場面で使用され、ネガティブな状況を的確に描写する便利な表現です。
I thought, look, it was a disjointed performance from a disjointed team.
いかがでしたか？実際のプレーはもちろん、スタッツを見るとさらに、ただただ素晴らしかったという遠藤航のプレーでしたね。久しぶりの先発で、しかもセンターバックと守備的ミッドフィルダーを兼任するような。偽センターバックというのは、ルベンディアスくらいしかやってないんじゃないかと思ってましたが。そんなプレーを、こなすだけではなく、素晴らしいプレーでやってみせる遠藤航に興奮しました。リバプールファンも同様で、みんな遠藤航を続々と称賛していますし。できる限りこのチャンネルでも取り扱いたいと思いますので。この動画では、ここまでにしておきます。遠藤航のプレーを見れて、本当に幸せでした。本日もご視聴いただきありがとうございました。またすぐにお会いしましょう。